does reduce inflation. 40% of inflation is fueled by fossil fuels.
No new taxes on families making more than, no new taxes on families making less than $400,000 or under.
The inflation data in July was 0.0. So we are seeing inflation decrease.
That people have every single day. Inflation is like a theoretical word that economists use.
Freedom is back in style. Welcome to the revolution.
Yeah, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song.
Sean Hannity. The new Sean Hannity Show. More behind-the-scenes information on breaking news and more bold, inspired solutions for America. This is a special edition of the Sean Hannity Show. America trapped behind enemy lines. Day number 369. Coming up next, our final news roundup and information overload hour.
All right, News Roundup, Information Overload Hour. Glad you're with us. Sean Hannity Show, 800-941-SEAN, our number if you want to be a part of the program. Well, one of the key Senate races, and there are many key Senate races, and I am telling everybody, do not take it for granted. These people that are talking about a wave election, it's possible, but you can't count on it until the votes are counted. And I always like to look at politics, look at every race, and assume I'm 5 or 10 points down, and you've got 2 minutes left in the game. You have no timeouts. You're on your own 20. You got to march down the field. You got to cross the plane, kick the extra point to win. And that's how you need to run a campaign, with that sense of strength and that sense of urgency. It's critical. If you get too complacent, you're not going to win. I like what they're doing in the House. Kevin McCarthy is going to have every House candidate sign on to their commitments for America, like the contract with America, and that holds every elected official accountable. Mitch McConnell's been very cool to the idea. I don't know why. I think it's a mistake on his part, and I have no idea what he's thinking, why he's thinking that. But that doesn't mean every Senate candidate has to go along with Mitch McConnell. They are free to sign that document if they want to. I would advise anyone running as a Republican to do so, because it's all common sense: cutting taxes, the bureaucracy, refunding the police, going back to energy independence, etc. Just the basics, the fundamentals. Anyway, so we've been covering a lot of this Senate race that's going on in Pennsylvania. Now, there are 4 specific Senate races that we've got to pay, 5 really, that we got to pay very close attention to, because they're all hold states. In other words, Democrats are going to try and pick off 1 or 2 or 3 or all 5 of them, if they could, these Senate seats, and they would get a majority. They get a majority, there goes the legislative filibuster. In comes court packing, in comes D.C., Puerto Rico statehood, in comes the biggest power grab we've ever seen from any Congress, any Senate in the history of this country. So it's very dangerous giving them this power. Anyway, so we're watching Pennsylvania, but the 5 states are Florida. We got to hold Marco Rubio. I think we'll hold there. We'll have a pickup, hopefully, in Georgia with Herschel Walker, and he'll defeat Raphael Warnock. We have to, Bud is running a good race in North Carolina. That's an important hold seat. Ron Johnson is a hold seat in Wisconsin. We have J.D. Vance running in Ohio. That's a hold seat. And Dr. Oz going up against Bernie Sanders wannabe, a guy by the name of John Fetterman. Now, finally, for the first time, the vetting of John Fetterman has begun. Let me play Fetterman, for example, agreeing that he wants to reduce our prison population by 1/3. Now, how does that make anybody in Pennsylvania safe? And by the way, the murder rate, since he's been lieutenant governor, is up 60% in Philly and surrounding suburbs. Listen.
I was on a panel with Secretary Wetzel earlier before the pandemic hit, and he said something remarkable that I agree with. He said, we could reduce our prison population by 1/3 and not make anyone less safe in Pennsylvania. And that's a profound statement.
That's a profound statement. And then he goes even further. He doesn't support fracking, and he wants to transition out of it. So he fits in perfectly with the climate cult alarmists.
I don't support fracking. I think it's something that has to eventually go away. And I would like to see it, transition out.
I would like to see a transition out. Now, John Fetterman has had a stroke even prior to the primary. He's only, as far as I know, been out and about 2 times, once this past week. And he seemed to be struggling mightily in terms of cognitive abilities. Listen.
We could have picked any part of Pennsylvania where we're going to start the campaign trail starting. Let me tell you, 2 years ago, I was talking to the media and saying them votes. You want to know who's going to be the next president? Do you know what I said? I said, tell me one thing. Tell me who wins Erie? 25 of those counties more votes, 25 of those 54 red counties more votes than Dr. Oz in those counties as well, too. I gave away the lieutenant governor in Pennsylvania, the only lieutenant governor in the history to do that. And you can count on us to eliminate the filibuster, and let's get some stuff done for America.
Okay, so obviously he's struggling. Fetterman, appointee to the Pennsylvania Board of Pardons, sought to abolish mandatory life sentences for murderers. I mean, there was another story in the Washington Free Beacon that he voted to free a convicted murderer who killed an 18-year-old for heroin money. I mean, this guy is so far out there. He has praised repeatedly Bernie Sanders and supported Bernie Sanders over every other Democratic nominee in 2016. I mean, he literally said I'm announcing my endorsement of Bernie Sanders during the primaries. The New Republic even described him as Bernie's army of candidates, a progressive revolution within the Democratic Party. And then there's this one instance where, in fact, he was pursuing a man and pulled out a shotgun on a young man that was just jogging, happened to be African American, and thinking, oh, he must have been involved in the shooting that had taken place. It wasn't the guy. Imagine if a Republican did that. Anyway, Dr. Oz is with us to update us on the race going on in Pennsylvania. How are you, sir?
Very well, Sean. If I can just add something to that last story, there was no shooting. He watched a black jogger in front of his house, ran after the man in his pickup truck with a gun, and ran him off the road and held him up. Now, we only really know much about this because that evening the local station in Pittsburgh covered the story because it was such a strange event and so egregious. And when the cops came, they didn't say much. They said, oh, all right, he was the mayor. And, of course, the African-American gentleman is not very happy in the interview. And I think these are the kinds of stories that are going to tarnish a very well-crafted hologram that's being created by the Democratic Party. And let me just put this on everyone's radar screen in a different way that appeals to all of you, no matter what state you live in. What the Democratic Party did with Joe Biden was protect him so that he couldn't do things that would create problems. And they created a mirage of what you might want for a moderate Democratic president. What the Democrats are doing is exactly the same with this gentleman, Fetterman. He has not left his house to do a campaign event until that little clip that you showed. He did not answer any questions, and that's it. That's all you get in 3+ months. I've agreed to 5.
And I'm reading about this guy. Isn't he like a trust fund brat that never had a real job and admittedly wants to smoke pot all day?
And his parents funded everything in his life. Pretty much until he took the lieutenant governor's position, which the governor wins. And he didn't really campaign along the way in a way that I would, anyone really would expect. And here's the biggest challenge. If you're not out talking to people, you're not listening to them either. As a doctor, I'll tell you, Sean, the most important thing I do is hear my patients. I'm hearing the voters. I've done 160 events in the last month and a half. I'm everywhere. I'm in, 4 or 5 counties today. I'm up in the northeast part of the state today, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area. I'll be in Pittsburgh by tomorrow morning. This is how you have to run a statewide campaign. He is hiding at home and letting his managers, his creators, run the show, and we cannot allow that. And this debate issue, just let me quickly highlight. There's a bunch of debates we were proposed. I took 5. These are 5 very well established traditional debates that are done, and he's not answered to any of them. So I can't flush him out. And yet, because the Democratic Party is so panicked about the need to control the Senate, they are pouring money from California, New York, outside of Pennsylvania into the state. So please, if you're hearing this story and you're worried about democracy because voters need to see their candidates, please go to DrOz.com and make a contribution. This guy's unbelievably effective at bringing in outside Democratic money. Let's show him what Republicans can do as well. Go to DrOz.com.
So is he getting a lot? I assume he's getting a lot of Hollywood money and big corporate money, but none of the money's coming from the people of Pennsylvania. That's rich. Well, this is one of the important hold seats. This is a defining. If the Republicans are going to have any shot at winning the Senate, they've got to win this race. And I don't know if people have been paying that attention to it. Now, this is a guy that, endorsed Bernie Sanders. So he's a radical leftist. How is the media allowing him to go forward with the Biden basement bunker campaign strategy, which is to hide? Are they going to allow him to not debate you?
They're mum on the topic. You talk to your blue in the face. The liberal media acts like a super PAC, basically, for the Democratic candidates. They give them a pass on these kinds of issues. If I was in his position, there would be a daily headline about the fact that I'm avoiding campaigning and I'm trying to escape the need to have a debate. That is a traditional obligation you have as a candidate. And they're unwilling to in any way go after him. And he runs only a personality campaign. He'll criticize me for who I am. And
he's been critical of the fact that your job, working for a living, something apparently he doesn't know anything about, and that it took you outside of Pennsylvania for a period of your life, and trying to make that into the biggest deal in the campaign. Quick break, right back. We'll continue more with Dr. Oz going up against the hidden Biden bunker basement candidate, John Fetterman, who's more left than Bernie Sanders. Anyway, as worldwide travel now is picked up in 2022, so does the appeal of stealing data from the travel industry. Now, the Marriott International Hotel Group announced that 20 gigabytes of sensitive data, including guests' credit card information, was stolen in June of this year. That's why I'm warning you, all of us every day are putting our personal information at risk on the internet, whether you know it or not. Anyway, LifeLock.com by Norton sees all these threats that we miss on our own. And if in fact they see any of your information is compromised, you will get an alert. If you're a victim of identity theft, you'll get a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist to fix it for you. And it is a low annual rate, and you'll save an additional 25% off your first year when you call 1-800-LifeLock. But you got to use the promo code Hannity to save the 25%, or just go to their website, lifelock.com, mention my name, Hannity, 25% off. And if you want to protect your good name and reputation and your finances and not get robbed blind and your credit score, just go to lifelock.com, promo code Hannity.
The Sean Hannity Show, a thermonuclear MMA assault on fake news. Hannity's on right now.
All right, we continue with Senate candidate Dr. Oz, a must-hold seat for Republicans, going up against Bernie Sanders wannabe, a guy by the name of John Fetterman. What I haven't heard, would he have supported? I assume he would. This bill that was passed by Congress, the Inflation Increasing Act, that raises taxes on natural gas and oil and coal and corporations and small businesses. He sounds like a reliable Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden reliable vote if he ever got in there.
He for sure support that because he believes in the Green New Deal. He said so. And the Green New Deal, scientifically, putting that hat on, is impossible. It will not work the way it's described, and certainly within the timeline offered. And that's exactly what this bill attempts to do. And it doesn't free us to drill so we can become energy independent. He doesn't understand the impact it's going to have on local communities here in Pennsylvania, or he doesn't care, one or the other. And for sure, you're paying a lot more money for energy than you need to because of this very short-sighted perspective. But he doesn't get into it, Sean. He doesn't answer those questions. That's not
so where is this guy every day? He's now made 2 appearances since he had this stroke. He's clearly struggling cognitively as a result of the stroke. Is he in his home? Is he going to the office every day? And by the way, when he was lieutenant governor, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't the murder rate in and around Philly and the surrounding suburbs go up 60%?
Your numbers are correct. Philadelphia now has the highest murder rate of its history. His position of being soft on crime has made it much more difficult for police. And I'll tell you, I got the endorsement of the Fraternal Order of Police last week, and I was up in Erie. And we were talking, they were interviewing me, and this has hundreds of police leaders there. And an African-American woman got up from the Capitol Police District of Harrisburg, which is where he works now as lieutenant governor. And he's done all kinds of bizarre things like putting up a marijuana flag illegally, hoisting it from his office. So that's all you see when you look at the Capitol building. These are, you're not supposed to deface public buildings. In any case, she said he treats her and her staff like there's something stuck to the bottom of your shoe when you're walking out of a dog park. And she was very upset, palpably upset. The murmur rippled through the audience. I was unanimously endorsed because so many other police in the room knew that in a place like Philadelphia, we don't have enough cops because no one's going to do the job because the John Fettermans of the world are hammering them for doing their job, taking away protections they think they need, always attacking them when something goes wrong, and people stop wanting to run towards the crisis when they know they're going to get in trouble for addressing a problem.
It's pretty unbelievable that they've gotten to this point. Now, in your defense, campaigns usually really kick off after Labor Day, but then you have, when does early voting start in Pennsylvania?
Towards the end of September. Sean, we are going to be fine as long as we define Fetterman in the way you just described. Because when you tell voters what we just discussed right now, which, takes effort and takes money. So that's why, again, go to DrOz.com because we need the money to put the ads up. And I'm putting a lot of my own money in. But I need help because the Democrats are all over this race. But when we define him for the far left radical that he is, for the imposter that he is, as someone who pretends he's a working class guy, but he's a trust fund kid who's been taken care of by his parents his whole life. His house was given to him for $1 by his sister. So he's not anything he portrays. When people see that, all of his support evaporates. And that's how we win this election. We move it back to the issues, the kitchen table issues that are destroying the lives of Pennsylvanians, the ones you spoke of earlier and speak of frequently. Those issues will win this election on November the 8th. He wants to keep it all about the cool factor with the hoodie and make it about, whether I'm from New Jersey or Pennsylvania. And I'm proudly someone that grew up south of Philadelphia, went to med school here, married my wife, Lisa, who you've met, the best decision of my life 37 years ago, in the house we live in now, because we moved back several years ago. It's all his effort to sort of muddy the water, to distract people from actually looking under his hoodie to identify who this guy really is. But he is the most radical candidate for a competitive Senate race in the country this year. If he goes to the Senate, it's a transformative negative impact. He's going to bust the filibuster. You heard him on tape say that. And he's like, not just Bernie Sanders, he's an AOC. He's a squad. Think of him as the center of the squad, right? Because he's taller. He's going to be doing exactly what they do. Disruptive tactics without real deep policy ideas. He won't fix the problems to make America stronger. He'll just make a mess of it.
And as a mayor, he skipped dozens of city council meetings, so he's never had a real job. He voted to free a convicted murderer who killed an 18-year-old for heroin, and he wants a third of the prison population set free on the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. That's a winning ticket, and he's a new Green Deal Bernie Sanders socialist. Good luck, Pennsylvania, if that's your new senator, because that's going to be a disaster. Dr. Oz, we're going to follow this race closely. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate it, and we wish you a lot of luck on the campaign trail. And the media there needs to demand Fetterman debate. Somebody's got to ask him some questions. He has not been asked a single question in the entire race. That's how corrupt the media mob is.
Sleepy Joe just signed more executive actions in 1 week than most presidents did in their entire term. So much for democracy. Looks like Joe is the new dictator. Hannity's on right now.
All right, 25 to the top of the hour. We are mourning the cancellation of the hit show Unreliable Liberal Sources on Fake News CNN. Well, it's a hit in terms of hitting rock bottom, in terms of nobody watching the show, but Humpty Dumpty is out at Fake News CNN.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again.
All right, Linda, by the way, you used to play that for Liam, didn't you?
I'm not kidding you. I said to Jason earlier, I was like, we got to get a copy of Humpty Dumpty for the show today. And he picked this version. I went, oh my God, it's the exact version I used for Liam. I'm like, the exact song. Like, there's a million versions of it, but any of them would have worked. But that one was perfect.
I'm gonna surprise you. I take no joy in somebody getting fired. I just don't. I mean, I should.
Well, I don't know that he got fired.
He got fired.
I mean, the show got canceled and he decided to leave.
Okay.
All right.
Say it any way you want to say it, but he's gone. They got rid of him.
He's not there.
He's not there. And you know the business. You read through the press release and you know what happened. I just don't take joy in people being fired. I don't know why. I am pathetically weak. I have a really weak side of me because of all the people, this guy has lied about me so many times.
Oh my God.
I should be happy that the guy's gone, but I'm not. I don't take any joy in it. And that really sucks.
I mean, I think a big part of why you're not taking joy in it is because we never really cared when he was there. He didn't have a real big imprint. Let's be honest. But at the end of the day, he's not a very nice person. So.
Well, I think that's part of it. And his role was exactly what I said it was. And that was Jeff Zucker's stenographer. Jeff Zucker's gone and they don't need Jeff Zucker's stenographer considering Jeff Zucker's gone. So where does he land next? MSDNC? Does he land at Media Matters? Does he land at,
if we're going to, let's be honest. Let's do honest reporting. When Humpty fell down, he had a great fall, a great one. So it's got to be a huge fall. It's got to be far away. He's got to start something new. MSNBC is like right there next to CNN. That's not like a great fall. It's got to be something really big, I don't know. If it's reliable sources, maybe he's going to move on and do the Stelter show. Sources. Maybe it's stand up.
He has the same problem as everybody else at CNN, is they claim to be journalists. They're not. They're talk show hosts just like me. Now, they're members of the press just like me. The only difference is I'm honest about who I am, and they lie about who they are. They say they're fair, balanced, and objective. They're not. They are advocates. They have a political point of view. They hate Donald Trump over at Fake News CNN. Now, this guy Licht, this is the guy that produced Stephen Colbert, who's now running the place.
I think you should say his first name because that sounded weird the way you said that. Like this guy Licht. I'm like, Chris Licht, the new guy.
Chris, whatever the guy's name is. Anyway, and then he did that stupid show. It could have been funny, but it wasn't funny. The cartoon president just to slam Donald Trump and everybody else in the media.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, I was looking and one day my character showed up in it and I'm like, I hope it's funny. It wasn't funny. I'm like, so disappointing when it's not funny.
Yeah, they're too busy being mean. That's a shame. They can't get out of their own way.
I have seen, these memes on social media about me and I spit up laughing because they're so
hilarious.
Funny. And
Absolutely.
they're cruel as hell, but they're funny as hell. And it's like everyone else in our industry, they can't take it. And I'm like, I'm laughing my ass off. I think that was really good. Touche. Good shot.
Well, everybody's so woke and in their corner crying about their feelings. So that's the problem. It's like, we can't have fun anymore. We can't be self-deprecating. We can't joke around. I mean, even the guys getting paid to tell the jokes, so it's too woke for them.
Well, I'm giving any comedian free license to say anything they want about me. And I'll put in a minor request. Just try to be funny about it. And then like, for example, leave Dave Chappelle alone. If you don't like Dave Chappelle, don't go to his show. I like Dave Chappelle. If you don't like his specials on Netflix, don't watch it. Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock are going out together. I can't think of a more dynamic comedic duo than this. This is going to be, two of the best comics currently on tour working together. I'd love to go see that show.
Listen, they're very, very funny. There's no question. And I give Chris Rock a lot of credit, for what happened and everything, and just kind of standing up and taking it and being very quiet about it. And even when, Will Smith, was a day late and a dollar short.
He needs to be making joke after joke after joke about Chris, what's his name? Will Smith and his wife. I would do just the opposite. I'd be unmerciful to them.
I don't know if I agree with that because I don't know that they deserve the attention. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
I really don't.
It was a slap heard around the world. It's sort of like the elephant in the room. Everybody wants you to talk about it. So if I was Chris Rock, I would do a great routine and I would slap them verbally up the side of their head and I'd do it ad nauseum.
Well, there has definitely. I think Chappelle was doing something the other day, and he did a little something about it. They were all on stage together, and Chappelle, I don't know exactly what he said, but he gave it a little hat tip, But I think ultimately, right, we're going to move on. We're going to do bigger and better things, and we're going to forget the people who tried to hurt us and bring us down, right? Which is what Will Smith and his wife did to him, and he just kept it moving, and ultimately he won.
Why am I so weak? Why shouldn't I be happy that Humpty Dumpty's out? Because he's been nothing but a jackass to us and a liar about us.
I don't know. I mean, you are definitely way nicer than me because I'm not sad about it at all because he just wasn't very nice. But I think that's the Christian in you, obviously. You're turning the other cheek, which is very nice. That's good.
I'm trying to be better. God has taken the edge off me. I don't know. In years gone by,
I think you might just be tired. I think if you got a good night's sleep, we might get you back on that edge again. Maybe we get you some tired. Sleep.
Oh, I didn't tell everybody, but I was.
I know you didn't.
I got somebody close to me had an issue, appendicitis, and I was in the hospital. What was it, Monday night?
Yeah, you've just been shot all week.
All night.
Yeah.
I literally went there right after. Well, I was there before the TV show. Then I did the TV show. Then I went back to the hospital. And
well, I think you're leaving out one important part was that you were up all night long, literally all night long, didn't sleep at all. Then went right to work.
I got home at 9 a.m. that morning. I maybe slept like an hour. And then I did both shows. I have no idea if I made any sense on Tuesday. I know I did a horrible TV show on Tuesday. And because when I sat down, I was like, I had no gas left.
Well, your benchmark is Joe Biden. So once we have a president that talks like him, we can only go up. So to us, you did great. You're really, really good. Right. Made a lot of sense.
I had a good, decent night's sleep. I had like 6 hours last night. That's a lot for me.
That's good. That actually is a lot for you.
Yeah. There was some guy, Sweet Baby James pointed this out to me. I don't know what publication. I don't really care. Actually claims that I only work 4 days a week and took issue with the fact that I told people in recessionary times there's only two ways to keep your head above water. Spend less and bring in more money and work harder. And
who took issue with this?
I have no idea. This author, Sweet Baby James, sent it to me. I don't know. So then he says, well, Hannity doesn't work hard. He only works 4 days a week. I'm like, what are you talking about? I work 5 days a week. Now, I've after 35 years in radio, and 26 years of Fox, I have accrued a lot more vacation that I don't even use half the vacation I have every year. I don't use it. Like it's a joke. I get more vacation. I'm like, maybe if I get sick one year, I'll need it.
Just for all of the employees of the Sean Hannity radio and TV shows and any other companies you have that we would all love for you to take some vacation. I have
How many
been
times
with you.
have I said I'm taking off and then some news happens and
first
I'm like,
of all,
I got to work.
This is a standard Sean Hannity schedule of vacation. Hey, Lynn, I'm going to take off this Thursday and Friday. Okay, great. So I'll mark that down. I get some guest hosts. Well, maybe not yet. Oh, okay, but you're taking off? I'm not sure, but I think I'm going to take off. Okay. And then the Tuesday before the Thursday, I'm definitely taking off on Thursday and Friday. So definitely get somebody. Okay, great. And then the Wednesday before the Thursday you're taking off, you're like, I'm not sure if I'm taking off. I may or may not take off. Then the morning of the day you're taking off, you're still thinking about not taking it off. And then you don't take off. And then I cancel everything. That's a standard Sean Hannity vacation.
And you get pissed off.
Oh, yeah. I'm not happy. It's a lot of work for you to say that you are not coming, but I'm coming, but I'm going to show up, but I might not show up, but I might be there, but I might not be there. So I'll see you then. What's happening? I don't know what's happening.
You know what the problem is? And my kids even said it to me when I spent a week with them around the 4th of July. And they're like, Dad, did you have to talk to person A, B, C, D, E, and F every day? Do you why don't you just go back to work if that's what you're going to do? And I'm like, no, I actually can do other work while I'm watching you swim in, a swimming pool or whatever.
Well, this is the big joke about, Patrick saying this all the time. If you retired, you'd lose your mind. You'd be driving around.
No, that's not what he said. He said, if I retire, Dad, you can't retire. He said, Dad, you'll die. That's what he said.
Subtle. I wonder where he gets that soft edge from.
I'm like,
but you don't think you would? I think you'd be going crazy. You'd be yelling at somebody.
Like everybody, I don't get people that sit on the beach all day. I can't do it.
Well, the beach is gross. I mean,
I set a record. I spent like 45 minutes on the beach with some friends one day. And I didn't, unbeknownst to me, they all had taken bets how long I'd stay there.
No way. Are you serious?
Uh-huh. And
I'm very curious which friend won. Interesting.
Somebody you don't know. Just a buddy of mine. And they're like, I'm like, yeah, I got to go up. I got to get some. I'll be right back. And they knew
I would have given
back.
you max 2 hours, max.
Oh gosh, I was gone in 45 minutes.
Oh, okay. I was like, that would have been like,
no,
that would
the
have
only
only
time
been
when my son was younger, we played beach football.
Yeah,
that's
fun. I
for
remember
hours
those days.
playing that. But I was
It's
the
fun.
stationary quarterback, so I didn't have to do the running on the sand part.
Oh, there you go.
That's too hard.
Good. Yeah, I don't care for the beach either. Give me the mountains any day.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when you get yelled at by everyone you're vacationing with that you're on your phone too much, it's not good.
Well, you are on your phone too much. You really are. Just so
well,
you know.
I'm working. Yeah. Well, so anyway, this person writes this article that I only work, 4 days a week, not 5. And then the person says, well, he's only on the air for 15 hours a week. And I'm like, no, it's 20.
What is this guy talking about?
And then he said, and what does he prepare, an hour a day? I'm like, he just takes calls on his radio show. And I'm like reading this and I'm thinking, oh, you mean when they ask me about the Manchin Biden bill, I'm supposed to just say, thank you for calling and not have, every single aspect of that bill so I can inform the audience? Is that how I do talk radio? No.
I don't think that people realize just how much work goes into the show, not to mention the fact the amount of information that you have on instant recall just from all the reading that you've done. In addition to the fact that you remember people that you've talked to from various cities and states, you remember when you met them, where we were, and you remember all the call letters of all the stations.
No, by the way, that used to drive Neil Bortz nuts.
That's bananas.
Neil Bortz thinks I'm insane.
You are.
So
he's right.
No, I'm not.
That's a little crazy.
For example, my routine is I work out. I make every meal myself, for good or bad. I've been on a basil kick lately, basil pesto.
Oh, that's yummy.
And anyway, so I've been on this kick, and then when I'm done doing the TV show, then I'll make a drink. I like to have my Tito's at night.
Absolutely.
And eat. And then I go back to working and I get all the news that I can get. And you'll often get texts at 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
Absolutely.
Because you're on a text string with everybody on radio and TV.
I love those texts. I'm like, oh, there he is. Great.
And by the way, you notice they come in fast and furious when I'm really on my game.
It's a rapid fire.
One after another.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm out of time.
You are out of time. Absolutely, you are.
800
time for Tito's.
Sean. What's that?
It's time for Tito's.
No, I still have it. That's after television. If I did it before television, I wouldn't.
I think you'd do a better show. Let's try it tonight.
Yeah, I actually did one day have an instance where I'd had maybe 2 beers. And
oh, really? Before TV?
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Yeah, because I thought I was off. I wouldn't have had it before if I knew I was going to be on.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I was fine. You wouldn't have noticed.
No, not with beer. Tito's, maybe.
Nah.
Maybe then we'll get your edge back.
What, and be mean to Humpty? Quick break,
Yes.
right back. All right, folks, would you turn down $1 million? Linda, would you turn down $1 million?
I would definitely not turn down $1 million.
Okay, what if you had to surrender your independence and abandon your principles for the money?
You mean work in the Biden White House? No, I wouldn't do that either. You're right.
All right, in other words, bad deal. You're not selling your soul. Look, there's only almost every American college and university, they give in to the government. There's one college that says no in America, our favorite college, Hillsdale College. And by that, they refuse to accept 1 penny of taxpayer dollars, not even indirectly in the form of a student grant or a student loan. But saying no to the government money, well, that means that Hillsdale gets to remain genuinely independent. Now, that means free from corrupting federal mandates and, more importantly, free to pursue their original 1844 mission, which is to pursue truth and defend liberty. Now, Hillsdale has over 1,500 undergraduate and graduate students on their main campus in Michigan and their satellite campus in D.C. In addition, over 3 million citizens now have enrolled in Hillsdale College's free online courses. There are over 6 million American households, including mine, that receive Hillsdale's free monthly publication in Primus. You got to get it. You sign up quickly. It's not that hard. It's absolutely free. Go to their website, SeanForHillsdale.com. That's SeanFor Hillsdale.com, and you won't be disappointed.
The radio show the mainstream media loves to hate. This is the Sean Hannity Show.
All right, that's going to wrap things up at today. Full coverage of this biased judge and his ruling on the release of the affidavit in terms of the raid of Mar-a-Lago. We have Jonathan Turley. We have President Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, is going to join us. Alan Dershowitz, Geraldo. Also, Dr. Ozhan tonight. Pam Bondi, Leo 2.0 Terrell, Sarah Carter, Brandon Judd. A disaster emerging at the border yet again. 9 Eastern, set your DVR.